Morning everyone, Ian from DIY Home and Gardening. End of April, actually got a nice day when it's my day off, and obviously I'm going to sit down in front of the compost heap, or one of the compost heaps. So the thought is to show you how to make a nice simple compost heap and why. Let's turn the camera around, shall we? So say on the allotment, making the most of the day, or a bit of sunshine, got the dog with me and been slowly tackling the weeds over there. Got a nice bucket full there and plenty on the go in this heap. So much so, still from this last year, that it's overspilling onto the floor already. Now, why do we even bother with a compost heap? Well, one, it's much easier to have somewhere to dump all your weeds and everything on the allotment than it is to cart it all the way home. So that's the first thing. Secondly, it breaks down into some nice mulching material. Yeah, let me just show you. So this is last year's. You can see where I've just been digging the perimeter. Gives you that nice organic matter that help you improve your soil structure, add some goodness in, and basically allow you to generate that unwanted plant waste back into some valuable planting material, or not planting, some soil improving material that's going to be full of nutrients and will also help to improve your existing soil structure. So you can just do a crude heap like that. It looks crude, but it's not exactly crude. Best method really is to alternate, so you're going between some sort of more twiggy stems to then some grassy bits and pieces, trying to generate some heat. And you can obviously help with promoting the breakdown of that by adding in some organic matter as well. So from time to time, as it presents itself, as in the pile over there, then I'll also do a bit of a layer of manure. Anyway, we're getting ahead of ourselves. Trying to create a better compost bin. Now these are my very crude compost bins, simply made from some pallets. Now these are some oversized pallets that had some building blocks on from when they were doing the work up at the farm, and so all I've done is screwed them together, top and bottom, holding this side panel to this back panel to this side panel. Nice and simple, holds itself relatively square. On this one, I've just sort of braced it a little bit more with a nice chunky post just to stop it splaying out too much. And actually on top I made a very crude turntable. Now this is fine as a holding pen, if you like. And this is after I've had a tidy up. So I thought I'd show you a nice simple trick just to try and confine that mess and actually make it a much more usable compost heap. Now we've all got plenty of scraps laying around. These are old scraps, a bit of fabric edging left from when I was repairing the shed. But I've got this, which is the old door from my old allotment, and that's going to be perfect. So what I'm going to do, let's just take it off. I've just taken off the old door frame supports. Let's get this over. A bit harder one-handed. So this is just some old OSB board. So not the most web resistant, but it's as cheap as it comes, and it's nice and solid. So all I'm going to do first is lean that there to allow me to do the first bit of measuring. So just stood the board upright, makes things a lot easier. Now all I'm going to do is just take measure, measure the width of the piece of boarding, or alternatively to that, just measure the height that you're planning to come up to make some sort of division, if you like, or holding pen to hold in all your stuff. So that is 3 foot. And now I've got these old bits of wood. They came from the old allotment. So I'm just going to cut down 4 of these to the same length as that. Nothing difficult about that. So that's 3 foot wide. I'm going to cut 4 of these down to 3 foot in length. Right, so I've got my pieces of wood. Doesn't matter that they're not all the same, just using up, say, all the odds and sods really, just trying to have a tidy at the same time. Measured out. I haven't got a pencil up here, so I'm just going to use a screw just to scribe out, and then use a saw just to cut it down to 3 foot, and same with the other pieces. Right, so that's the 4 pieces cut down. Now, oh, look at that, it's so windy, it's blown over already. Now what you're going to do is we're going to take a couple of measurements so we know how wide to cut this, or how short I should say. So good idea, let's slide this out the way again. Good idea to take the measurement at the bottom, side to side, so internal there to internal there, and then we'll do the same our 3 foot up, internal to internal, just to see how square the unit is. And all I'm going to do is cut this sheet of boarding down to that measurement minus 5mm. The reason I'm going to cut it down minus 5mm is just so that it's not really tight to go inside, and I'll show you why in a minute. So my 2 measurements, I've got 144.5 down the bottom, 143 at the top. So I'm actually going to cut it 142.5 and then just kick that bottom in a little bit. Probably isn't quite square, to get it to be exact. So let's measure this out, cut it down 142.5. So after a bit of digging around, found a pen in the shed. Well, all I've done, used a long piece of wood just to go across from this side to that side of 142.5 centimetres from that point to that point. Well, this is definitely taking some doing with a fairly blunt and rusted saw, but not too long to go now. Alright, that's cut down to size. I just found this scrap of wood, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to screw that onto the top. That's just going to allow me to lift the board. So let me get a couple of screws in, make it easy. So to screw that batten on, all I've done is I've turned the wood upside down, just so that way it's screwing from this side through that way, using a suitably long or short screw, depending on your view, so that it's going to go into the wood but without coming out the other side, because you do not want to be cutting yourself every time you come to the allotment and moving this panel. Right, so now we come to do a bit of assembly. So screws, just using 3 screws per length of wood. Got me bits of wood, and well, because it's that keeping up with the Joneses, well, not as anyone up here, but appearance wise I'm going to use the ones that actually match. They're going to be on the front. The ones that don't match, well, no one's going to see them, so they'll be on the inside. So fix first batten so it's flush with the edge down here. So do that on this side and the same on that side. So secure at the top, then do the bottom one. Not so easy to do it one-handed. Just get that in, and then we'll do one in the middle, and then that's just going to stop it bowing one way or other. Okay, so got the upright secured on this side, same on that side. Still got our other 2 battens left, but now it's time to go and get the front panel. Right, got the panel over. Now let's just get it in roughly. So you get the idea. That's going to go across there. Oop. Across there, like so. And now, going to have to get inside, I think. Screw this. Then screw that one. Not so it's really tight because you'll never get the board out, but a little bit of movement and upright. And that's just going to stop this panel from blowing. So, okay, so that's the internals done. I've actually had to put a secondary piece on there because it was a bit too thin to hold the wood in place. Because basically it's got nothing on there. So yeah, put 2 little pieces on there, piece on there, and just need to get out now. So I've dug a little bit of soil out the base just to make sure it sits nice and flush, or more flush. Got the panel, and essentially you can now just lift it out to have access to the whole inside of the bin when it comes full. So you can chuck all the stuff in. So I'm going to rotate it all now by chucking that lot into there to get the old composting process started, and then put the door on. So that's it. Looking rather windswept. Thankfully the rain's held off. Dog's come over to join me. Finished building the very simple compost bin, and if you're just starting off an allotment or indeed got one established, really handy, like I say, to have a compost bin. And this hasn't actually cost anything to make, and to be honest, if it's like around here, so places like Travis Perkins and other builders merchants, they're always looking to get rid of their old pallets because essentially they've got to pay to get them taken away otherwise. So you know, in place of this piece of wood, you could actually get yourself 3, 4, 5 pallets, do 3 for the perimeters, and then break down the slats on the other couple to then form your front slat sections, and that would cost you indeed nothing other than buying a packet of screws to fix it all together with. Additionally, what you can do, and what a lot of people also do, you can run some weed membrane or cardboard on the inside. That will just help to retain the more consistent moisture levels and temperature within the compost bin. But personally, I like to leave it open. Just allows for a good airflow. Won't get quite so hot as if you got a membrane on the inside, but certainly hot enough to create some good compost. Again, beyond this, you could put some sort of roofing on to prevent the worst of the winter rain getting onto it, or wet winter. But again, there's no real need. That's another job for later date when you've got nothing else to do. So all that's left to do now is to turn the compost bins, moving that lot into this one, ready for the coming season ahead. So job done, video done. If you've got any questions, then please send them to me. I'll do my best to answer them for you. If you like what I'm doing, then please subscribe to the channel. Don't forget to hit that reminder button so you don't miss out on future videos. And above all else, just have fun, enjoy yourself, try something different. Try out those handy man skills, handy person skills. Spend a bit of time with the dog. So, until next time, bye for now. Just thought I'd show you this almost as a bit of a bonus feature. So having started turning the compost, basically taking all the freshest stuff, putting it to the bottom. I've added in a bit of manure to start with at the base just to try and get those worms up, and then halfway down now, and you can see it's looking pretty good. Still a bit twiggy, but you could sieve that out. But there's some potential for some great compost there.